Right, this one's kind of gone under the radar a little bit because of all the big Wiertz news and everything swirling around and the Club World Cup and Trent going to, what club did he go to? Doesn't matter, who cares? It's Giovanni van Bronckhorst is now essentially in the role of assistant manager. He's a coach at Liverpool now, even though we don't do the system like that. We don't do a manager and assistant manager, we do a team of coaches. Essentially a boot room. I've never heard that phrase before. Essentially, a democracy? It's unusual in the West nowadays, but that's what we are. We're a democracy. The votes, they all count equal, unless it's you. So, who is you? Giovanni van Bronckhorst comes in at Liverpool after a star-studded career. This is a guy who's hit over 100 times for the Dutch. This is a guy who's been successful with Barcelona, with Feyenoord. Boy, as a managerial appointment, he would have been interesting. But as an assistant manager, and essentially in inverted commas, as a manager, Eredivisie 2016-17, which pretty crazy actually if you think about that. The Eredivisie season of the 61st season of the top tier. Let me just try and find the table for the end of that because I want to see how he won it. Feyenoord, 82 points, 1 point ahead of Ajax. The 1 point thing, PSV were good that season. Utrecht, very far off it. But still, he won the Eredivisie that season. He also won the KNVB Cup, which I think is like a banking cup over there. 2 seasons, not back-to-back, I might add. He also won the Cruyff Shield, which is sort of like, I think, twice, which I think is their equivalent of the Community Shield. He also won the Super League with Besiktas, with the Rangers. He was the Europa League runner-up, and he also won the Scottish Cup. Obviously, Celtic were pretty dominant then. I think that was a very different time for Rangers, though Rangers were still rebuilding, and maybe they had high hopes than that. He won the individual award of the Puskás Award, which is pretty fascinating. And he also is a Knight of the Orders of the Orange Nassau. The Order of the Orange Nassau is a military Dutch order of chivalry founded on the 4th of April in 1892. Big year for football. By the Queen Regent, Emma of the Netherlands. So basically this guy's won some military stuff. He's basically a soldier. Soldiers, outmoded. But ultimately vital in urban combat. Eredivisie runner-up with Feyenoord. I can keep going through these, but I'm going to go. He won the Premier League, and he did win the Premier League, and he was also a runner-up in 02-03 after winning in 01-02. He was part of some very special Arsenal teams. Also won the FA Cup, so he does have experience in the English League, and ultimately, I watched a lot of Giovanni van Bronckhorst. I played with him a lot on the old Pro Evolution Soccer. Yes, I'm that old. La Liga, he won twice and was a runner-up a third time. Supercopa, he won the Champions League, obviously, in 05-06. What a team that was, by the way. To be part of that side as a fullback, tucking into midfield. Ooh, as a fullback. He also won the Super Cup, and he also won the Club World Cup, which I've not really heard of since. Anyway, the up and down of it is, I think he's in a similar situation to where Pep Linders is at. He's gone out there into the big wide world. He's managed Feyenoord. He's managed Gwangju RF, not Gwangju Evergrande. Rangers, Besiktas. And it hasn't always gone well. With that, what I'd say is, that doesn't mean he's not a successful person, doesn't mean he doesn't have great ideas, all these kind of things. In fact, he replaced another person who was at one point interviewing for our process at Rangers, in Stephen Gerrard. Cultures in different clubs affect how long they keep managers, what phase of their development in, also affects how they keep managers. And Liverpool's interview process will have A, been incredibly stringent, but B, also be one which is trying to work out what Arne Slot needs. And I think this is the key to what I'm looking at Liverpool here. What did Johnny Heitinga bring that he's now left to take somewhere else that Liverpool will want to replace? And first of all, it's those one-on-one coaching ideas that someone like Van Bronckhorst, A, brings in terms of the weight that he brings to a training session, but B, also the one-on-one management skills that he seems to have. He's a great man manager, he's a great player, but he was a great man manager and someone who's very good at building relationships with the players. Yes, he hasn't always been the successful manager, but he's also been a successful manager in winning things when he was in the Dutch league, he was a successful player. Anyway, I think he is a great appointment for Liverpool because, first of all, he's a big name, he's a recognisable name, But I also think he's the kind of guy who will complement what it is that we need Arne Slot to do. He's going to be part of a coaching staff. He's going to integrate as part of a team. This might feel big, and I think it is relatively big, but I also think it's good because it backs up where Liverpool are trying to go. And I think a big part of coaching players in the modern era is instilling these drilled ideas and then getting them to be creative. He was a manager who very often believed in, not just a fixed style, but an adaptable style and adaptable positions and adaptable players to play within those that then have moments of brilliance. Guys, we're working with one of the best fullbacks here of all time in Giovanni van Bronckhorst. And he's going to be working with some of the best fullbacks of this next generation. In Kerkez, in Frimpong, talking to them about the ideas, the ideals, how to protect, how to go forward. The Barcelona obsession, by the way, that we're not really acknowledging, that ultimately is Arne Slot's, but also might be some other Liverpool staff obsessions. He's obsessed with Pep Guardiola. He's obsessed, or has been obsessed, with brilliance in management. And Van Bronckhorst has been part of those brilliant moments. Obviously, in winning the Champions League and in playing, he actually played on Frank Rijkaard. But you get what I mean about the overall culture and playing alongside those people. He's a brilliant player. He's a brilliant manager. And that is what we need at the club. We need winners. We need winners. That's all we're going to let in. To come in and do stuff. And that's what he's going to do. Not only that, but I think internationally, I don't think he won all that much. Did he win? Giovanni van Bronckhorst was not included in the preliminary squad for the tournament. Was he part of the final? He was part of the World Cup final against Spain that they ultimately lost. He also played in some classic kits. Van Bronckhorst was one of those players. He was a FIFA and Pro Evo legend because he was brilliant, he was adaptable. He was never like a 90, but he was always a solid mid-70s to mid-80s kind of player. He was a good player. Midfielder and left back was essentially where he played. And that is what I think we're going to be building with Kerkez, with Frimpong, with a lot of these players. And he brings some of the Dutch ideals that we need. I'm excited about this because first of all, he was one of the players that I really loved back in the day. I thought he always looked like, the player that you wanted to kind of have in your team. He always looked like he embodied a lot of those qualities, those ideals. But also, if Liverpool, again, with all the videos I make right now, my broad point is, if these Liverpool guys like him and they're trying to build a culture of excellence, I like him. Because they didn't need to bring in someone this week, this day, this time. They could have elongated that interview process. But these guys move quick. They know what they get. And equally, we've trusted them on Arne Slot. We trust them with Johnny Heitinger. Johnny Heitinger was an Everton legend. Let's trust them with Giovanni van Bronckhorst. Because I think ultimately what we're looking at is a guy who is like, whoa, guys, that's a good player. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Obviously, there have been patchy parts of his career. I watched him as a player, loved him. Watched less of him as a manager, but have watched some of him obviously at Rangers. And obviously, I've also taken an interest in his, you hear his name here and there, but obviously I didn't watch him at Gwangju. I didn't watch him at Feyenoord in depth. I didn't watch him at Besiktas. Though I did take an interest in Besiktas, I do like a bit of the Turkish league. The point is, I'm excited. Let me know what you guys think about the appointment. Get down there, take a look at some of the comments, get in the comments, talk to me about the overall culture of excellence that we're building at the club. And I think it's only really in England that we think in this way. Oh, he was a failure there, so he'll be a failure here. It's a very unusual cultural way that we think. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll chat to you in a while. There's Discord, there's Patreon, of course, there's a super chat down there. I'll see you guys in the one. Much love. Bye!